Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Zeb, here on Zeb's Corner, and today we're going to be doing multi-band compression for the month of April audio, or my audio April month thing that I've been actually pretty consistent with because, I'm locked in the house and like most of you guys are. So I'm taking advantage of doing something that I really love, which is mixing and recording and all kinds of stuff. Even though I don't really showcase that stuff that much, I intend to definitely do so from this point on. As well as I love to do video. I'm an audio video guy. I'm a behind the scenes person. I've never really done anything so much up in the front. As a drummer, I'm also an important part to any band or anything like that. I'm the backbone. So being a part of the behind end is what I love to do. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. We're going to really just get into today's thingamajiggy. And today's thingamajiggy is we're going to cover multi-band compression and how it could be used either in your two-bus or your actual track, depending on what it is that you're doing, and the importance of multi-band compression, and or if you wish, multi-band compression versus dynamic EQ. They kind of really do both of the same thing. Well, we're going to really kind of just stick with multi-band compression and call it a day. So let's just get into our example really quick. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but we know that doesn't really happen. And let's go. So here we are. We are in a session that I did a while ago with some friends, and Al on bass. This is Al's part here, and this is a friend of mine who is in Germany. This is his guitar selection here, or the guitar section, and me on drums. And I'm just gonna play you this section here. There's other components to this song, but I took out for this tutorial because my computer was choking. I had a whole lot of stuff happening. And I'm just going to play you this section here so you guys could hear what it is that we were doing. And here we go. Okay, I think that's enough. So you guys get the idea, right? So guitar, bass, and drums. And let's say, for some odd reason, that there was something wrong with the overall sound through this master, even though I have some stuff going through this submix here, right? Let's say there was something wrong with this master. Now, what would we do? We would go for several things. We would probably reach out for a compressor or a limiter, depending on what it is that we want to do, or depending on what it is that we heard something wrong. Now, if we heard something that we want to dial back down a little bit, but not totally squash everything or, affect everything, a multiband compressor or a dynamic EQ would become the tool that you could go and grab for. The thing is, well, what are the differences between a multiband compressor and a dynamic EQ? And the fact of the matter is that there isn't much of a difference because a multiband compressor is a dynamic EQ. Well, let's first take a look at this EQ. This is just a 4-band EQ, nothing special, but it's not really doing anything other than getting ready to affect the bands by up, boosting, cutting, notching, whatever an EQ can do. And that's all that this is really going to do. But it's not going to compress or have any dynamics in this particular EQ. All it's going to do is do what an EQ does: cuts, boost, or notches. Dynamic EQ, we have to make it active. It's slightly different. It gives you components like an EQ, your cues, right? All your cues there. Let's do that again. Your pass, your not bell, you know what I mean, slope, different kinds of cues. But it has the components of a compressor: attack, threshold, release. I don't see a ratio here, but it still nonetheless has the components of a compressor alongside with the EQs. Your frequencies here. You could go on. And this is what makes this EQ different from this EQ, right? No dynamic components, but the spectrum components or the band components. Components of a compressor with bands. Not that many bands, but you could play with it if you know what to do with this particular one. But we won't get into this one as a dynamic EQ, even though it's awesome sauce. We're going to make it active. We're going to also make this one. No, we're not. We're going to leave it up for a while. We're going to open up this one. And this here is a multiband compressor by FabFilter. Old, but dope. I think they're on to a new one at this point. I don't have the new one. I don't really think I really need the new one at this point. But really good. And this is going to do what this can't do. It's going to give us the same amount of bands, but we're going to be able to compress it. So there's nothing here right now. So we create our bands. Boom, boom, boom. 4, just like the other one. I won't be exact like the EQ, but you get the idea. Highs, mid-highs, mids, and lows. Highs, mid-highs, mid-lows, or mids, and lows. Right? Same thing. Difference is you have your dynamic parts here. Release, attack, range for your range here. This is your range. Your threshold, your ratio, your knee. You can compress or expand in this particular one. You could also side chain in this particular one as well. Unlike here, there's no side chaining in this particular EQ. I believe the other one that I was using as an example, the dynamic EQ, may have a side chain. I do not know at this point. I forget because I don't use it that often. I just have it and I use something else by BrainWorks as far as their products are concerned. For the most part, this is still going to do pretty much everything that I wanted to do as a multiband compressor. And just to give you a little bit of an example, let's suppose this area was your troublesome area, or this area was your troublesome area when we're listening to what we want to fix. The multiband compressor could fix it in many ways. It could either bring it down or even bring it up. If we thought it wasn't enough pronunciation, we could bring it up. And we could also compress that particular area, again, without having to squash all the other areas of the actual track. So that would be, if there were strings, which there are, there's keys in it. And if we didn't want to, fludge up that area, then without having to use a compressor that actually does everything on one track in a glue sense, a multiband compressor could fix it in an EQ sense with some dynamic, if you wish to have that dynamic be affected in that particular area. Forgive me, I can't speak. I need more coffee. But we're going to continue. So we're going to play just a little bit and watch what this does, just to watch it, see what it does, and use your ears to see if you hear anything happening as I make certain moves. So here we go. guys saw and heard the subtle differences. Again, this is the area that we're saying that's going to be the most troublesome, which it really isn't. But let's just say it was. You were able to hear and see what was actually happening. The threshold was actually making that door close on it. The attack was actually taking place very quickly. This is one of those things that, like any other compressor, you have to play with the compressor components to understand what the compressor is doing, to know what we're getting ready to go and grab and see what is taking place before we actually start doing it. But again, you guys could see, rather, what was happening when the moves were made. In this particular one here, and like other multiband compressors, you can solo the areas you wish to listen to, right? And you could mute it if you felt that it wasn't really necessary. Or in this case here, you could turn it off. Or I could turn off that section and say, it doesn't bother me anymore. I'll just turn it off, but I like what it's doing with the other parts, right? And, there's an endless amount of choices you could really do with this particular multiband compressor here. Again, it's not what this one could do, it's just what a multiband compressor can do in general. So let's play with it again and play with other parts of the song and see what's happening while we're playing along with it. All right, one more time. Let's do it again. All right, I played it enough. You've seen enough of what it could do. I don't want to bore you with the same song. But you guys kind of clearly get the idea of what's happening as I play with these sections. I was really making it worse than I was making it better. But you guys really could get the idea of what is really taking place. If there's ever an issue where you may have a troublesome, slight issue with a vocal, it sounds fine, it was processed fine, but overall it may be a little too much. It may bite too much. One of these multiband compressors could certainly do the trick. You may not need as many bands to just fix that area. So you find the area, dial it up or dial it down, and then you're good to go. And I think that's just the basic understanding of what a multiband compressor could do. Each one operates slightly different, but they all do the same thing. And if you are lucky enough to have a dynamic EQ such as this, by all means, grab it, play with it, see what it could do. And you may be surprised that it really could do a world of good. And instead of really just over processing certain components in your track, a multiband compressor could actually save the day. So I hope you guys like what I have to give you here on Zeb's Corner with the whole thing between dynamic EQ and multiband compressors. And as you can see, they are one and the same. Pick your brand of choice, play with them, see what you get, and you will be able to actually get something going. As you can see, I'm wearing something different because I had to do the whole ending part over because I just didn't like the way I ended the last one. So this is why it's a new day, and I ended it differently, and yeah, so there you go. So I had to end it proper with something a little bit more befitting for you guys, all right? So yeah, great. So anyway, Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the little belly thing to let you guys know I'm coming with stuff. When I'm coming with stuff, and I will see you in the next one.